This how you make the bomb sopa right here. Got me fucked up, little onion, garlic, straight up. Sopita. And in that fashion. What's good with it, the hood with it, man? Welcome back to the Collective Clips, where we get it in, right? So I wanted to tell you guys a little hood story, right? North and South. Nortenos versus Surenos, man. Let me fix my shit up. Oh, let me tuck it like fuck it. And let's get to it. But before we do, hit that like and subscribe button, man. Put your notification bell on also. That way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I am kicking. And I highly appreciate it. Now, you know, there was plenty of issues that were going on while I was in YA. When I was in CYA, man, that's when, you know, that's when the Southsiders up north really started to establish. They really started to put their flag in. And a lot of the homies, man, you know, that I was in communication with, because I'm not going to lie, you know, when you're locked up, you lose, you go incommunicado, you know, especially when you're young, you know, there was not cell phones back in them days like that. Not everybody had a phone on them at all times. So it was more like, you know, basically write a letter. You know, every once in a while you'll call a family member. If there's a homie there, you could find out kind of the latest, what's going on. But it wasn't like, you know, every day you're on the phone and you know, you're just fucking finding out hood news and hood business. That's not how it went, man. Anyone that sits here and says, you know, they didn't go through some type of struggle when they were in the youth authority, you know, back in them days in the 90s, it was pretty much you were forgot about, man. I mean, there were some homeboys that were like, hey, yeah, the homie's locked up and this and that, but for the most part, it was more like, the homie's locked up. What can we do? He fucked up, right? It wasn't that they forgot about you, but I mean, you were on your own, homie. You know, kind of like C-Mac right now in the feds. You know, people are trying to keep his name alive, but, you know, you'll see. Give it about another week or two, and people are going to move on. They're going to be talking about, you know, who fucking Chris John Rock is fucking now. That's just how it is. You know, out of sight, out of mind. Anyways, but when I used to talk to the homeboys every once in a great while, you know, it was like months. That would, in between time, they would tell me, you know, what was going on, and that there was a lot of beef going on up north, man, Northern California. When the Southsiders first moved in, you know, to the valley, you know, there was a lot of gente that were fucking, you know, feeling some type of way. Because, I'm not going to lie, you know, it seemed like everything happened fast, in quick succession. You know, when I first realized what Norteños were even, what they were, you know, and started to get involved, Southsiders came right in. So we were always at war, man. See, there's a difference down south. Down south, it's not like that. Down south, wait up. Let me put some soap on here. You know about this. You know about the soap game. A little bit of soap, I never hurt nobody. So, I need a little bit more, man. I don't know how you do it, but old school up. Generic brand, Winco Foods. You know, I ain't got a lot of money, but definitely gonna have myself. Gotta step my soap game up. But anyway, so you know, it seemed about the time that I was just learning about gang banging and all that is about the same time that fucking you know, the Sureno started to establish. So there was a lot of war. See, down south, they never had to deal with that. Down south, it was pretty much body of warfare. They were doing their thing. You know, they'd been doing their thing for a long time. And the north was catching up. You know, the north was starting to gang bang on the streets. I mean, there was a lot of red on red back in them days. Just hood shit. Not necessarily that many killings. Shit did happen. More so in bigger cities like San Jose, San Fran, Oakland, you know, even Fresno, they were wiggling like that. But like in the Central Valley, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you guys and say that people were getting killed every week, and not like how it is now. You know, now gangbanging is real because you have adversaries. You have people that, you know, don't get along. And people are on a mission, man. They're out there trying to get it. So anyways, about the time that shit we started to notice, you know, this influx of Southsiders moving in up north is about the same. Yeah, it's about the same time that I started to, you know, notice I got locked up. And so anyways, you know, when I would talk to the homeboys, they would tell me, you know, hey, man, it's guerra out here. It's war, homie. You know, people are constantly getting hit. There's this back and forth. You know, the Rangers are starting to establish. But, you know, I'm not going to lie to you. There was a lot of homeboys that were biased, man. And they were trying to say, you know, these Vatos don't pose a threat. These Southsiders here in the valley, they're paisa. Their vatos just trying to fit in. You know, their family members come to work up north in the fields, and these vatos bring that LA swag. But at the same time, a lot of the guys that are coming up north, you know, are different. And there is, man. I know a lot of people. We are all one. You know, we are all raza, but there is a difference between north and south when it comes to the swag and the way they carry themselves and all that, right? So every time that I used to talk to a homie on the phone in YA, you know, I was in the midst of dealing with Sureños, homie. I was in the midst of dealing with vatos from LA. I was locked up. I was incarcerated, you know, down south. So, Benza. So I was in the mix, you know. So I would tell them my little war stories. They would tell me what was going on in the streets. Quietly as it's kept, when I got out in 1996 is when I realized that the Sureños already had a foothold, man. You know, that they were already there in the Central Valley. There was no getting rid of them, homie. There was no, for those of you that don't know, in the sopa, you got to put it in the oil, man, cook it like that. And, you know, I'm just making me some sopa and talking while I go. But anyways, so, you know, I get out and I realize, like, hey, these vatos are here. They're not going anywhere. And we started to go at it viciously, man. Now, I was of the mindset when I got out of YA, and my whole thing was I was rocking the narrative of getting all the homeboys on one page, you know. I was pushing that propaganda, like, these vatos, you know, let's stop this invasion, let's kill it now. One guy's voice could be heard, homes, and could be felt. But at the same time, you know, I was a youngster still. I wasn't in no position to dictate anyone or run anyone, or I wasn't no shot caller or no fucking, I wasn't in that mix like that. You know, I was just a regular northerner or Norteno that thought I knew it all. Who was out there striving with the rest of them. So we started to get into it with A-Town, Atwater, which is right there in Merced County. It's right there located, like 5-10 minutes away down the street. We started to get into, I guess they had been getting into it, man, but I got involved. Right? And I ain't gonna lie to you guys, man. Them vatos were holding their own. You know, them Sureños right there, homie. One thing I can say about A-Town is most of the guys that were from that gang A-Town were not they were not products of Atwater. You know, later on the generation started, then it was guys that were homegrown, but these were a lot of vatos that had moved from Bakersfield, LA, all that down south, man, and had come up. And for some reason, man, I don't know why they decided to go to Atwater, but that was the little town that they decided to go to. So there was a lot of war. But those weren't the cats we were beefing with the most, believe it or not, you know, in the Central Valley. The cats that we used to get at the most were from Modesto, right? There was a gang in Modesto, and let me tell you about Norteños in Modesto, homes, Motown, which is about 30 minutes away from Merced, 25, 30 minutes. There was a lot of OG, old school neighborhoods, man. You had OGLs and Deep South, Southside Modesto. You had West Side Boys and Four Corners and North Side Modesto and the East Side Airport District and all these old school Norteño gangs, man. And you would think with there being so many active Northerners at that time in that area, man, and so many homies with the program that the Sureños wouldn't be able to establish. Now, there wasn't as many as, like, say, in Atwater or even San Jose, because they got bigger. In San Jose, it's a much bigger area, man. So they were able, and they had been there since the establishment of the Southsiders, right? So they were able to get in. Even then, there was still more Northerners. But we used to go to Modesto all the time. That's where the little club spots were, man. In the Valley, anyone that knew, man, from Madera on back, you know, if you were from Fresno, you're already a bulldog, homie. You had your own little clubs and your own little shit. So we didn't really go to Fresno that much. We did go a few times to Fresno because we were like, fuck it, whatever, man. But we mostly went at it with the perros when we'd go there. We were the perro chapos. But when we'd be wanting to go kick back and chill, we'd go to Motown. They had all the flyest chicks, right? They had the tightest clubs. And there was a lot of homies there. And my hood, man, we were real cool with the gang out there called Four Corners, the west side of Modesto. They were real, you know, one of my homeboys from my neighborhood, he had family that were from Four Corners. There was primos, you know, so when we'd go out there, we'd kick it with them cats. And, you know, mostly at that time, there was a lot of, like I said, red on red, there was a lot of beefing, like, you know, the west side of Modesto and Deep South didn't click as hard as they do now. And it was just, you know, so I can't sit here and say that I kicked it with many dudes from the deep, from the south, where my father's originally from, but I kicked it with a lot of cats from the west side, right? Facts. And so I remember one time we're out there, and I didn't even know there was fucking Southsiders out in Modesto like that. You know, I had never seen them. You know, I knew about the little low riding scene, and they always had that shit going on. You know, everybody would go to Modesto to cruise graffiti nights. That's where that movie was filmed, so they always had graffiti nights cruising. Everyone would go cruise McHenry, which is like the main street out in Modesto to cruise. And the 209, everyone knows that shit, right? So we go out there and do that, and then fucking, wait up, let me grab some tomato sauce. Spansa. This is how cheap I am. I'm reusing some shit that I had already opened. What you know about that? Also. Yeah, it does it. So, let me put this shit down. Let's put this shit down a little bit. One time for your mind. This is vlogging with the gun. Cooking sopa with the gun, ghetto style. You guys want me to show you the key ingredients of sopa that no one hardly uses? Let me hit a little bit of salt. Gotta have a little salt. A little pepper. We'll get back to the story in a minute. I know you guys are like, did the Surenos fuck you guys up? Wait. This right here, homie. I'm gonna show you guys something. See this right here? That right there is the secret ingredient to sopa right there. Hit it with some of that. That's the bomb, right? Then, of course, let me grab a spoon. Caldo de pollo. If you're Mexican and you don't have caldo de pollo in your pantry or in your fucking cupboards, then you ain't Mexican, that's it. Right? Straight up. You know? There's vatos like, I don't even know that shit. Hans, my old lady cooks for me. Well, then you're lucky, eh? Let me get some water real quick. Look at my beat up blender, my old school toaster. Let me know why it does this shit. A little water. Wait up. A little more water. And then you got to throw the mix down. This is the remix. This is the remix like Puff Daddy did with every fucking old school beat. He just remixed it, told Biggie to rap over it, and there it was. Bam. Meanwhile, he was fucking Justin Bieber. So anyways, yeah, let that shit cook, man. Get that mixed up real good. Show. This shit's bomb right here. What you guys know about old school sopa? I love sopa, but I make homemade chile, and I put it over the sopa. That's all I need. That's some frijoles. I don't even need the meat, homie. You don't even need carne. Vegetarian shit today. Just off the sopa. Get my little lid one time for my mind. So when it comes to a boil, then I lit it up. Anyways, bam, back to the story. So we go to Modesto. We're kicking it with some homeboys from Four Corners. And there was a club out there called Fat Cats, right? Old school back in the 90s, late 90s. You guys remember Fat Cats, 2000s. The cool part about this club was it had a fucking boxing ring inside the club, right? So you used to be able to sign up and box cats from different neighborhoods. Box anyone, you know. They would check the weight class. You'd sign up. Someone else would sign up. And then they let you know, hey, you got to fight this weekend. And bam. And it was cool. It was a club. It was popping. There was hella chicks there. They would go because, you know, there was hella dudes boxing. And so they'd have matches. And my hood, we used to like to sign up for that shit. I had a homeboy named G-Funk, man, that was a knockout artist that used to go. He's the one that taught me the why I say menudo style, because he would knock cats out and say they need menudo in the morning to wake them up, right? So we were going to Fat Cats, we were kicking, and none of us were fighting that night. We were just going over there, and a group of fucking gentlemen walked in, right? And these guys are wearing all black, and I'm not going to lie, back in the 90s, back in them days, man, we were all flamed up. Everyone's flamed up. This was 97, late 97, man. I remember I had a fake ID. I had to get in the club like that. And so we're all kicking it. And these cats walk in all black. And the homie's like, hey, them fools are Southsiders, homes. They're from the east side. And we were on it. Because, see, in Merced, we were used to going at with A-Town and going at it with Winton. You know, another little town right there that has Surenos. So we were like, fuck that. Fuck them motherfuckers. Right? We're going to get off on them. The homie was like, nah, let's not even fuck up our night. You know, every time we seen Southside, it was automatic rush or they'd rush us. They weren't like really tripping. There was like 5 or 6 of them. They were just like doing their thing by the bar, just getting their little liquor or whatever. So the homie's like, just chill, you know what I mean? If they start to look crazy, then we'll get off, right? But man, the Central Valley is a war zone. You know, when you think everything is cool, it ain't cool. When you think everything is fucking just kickback, it's not, right? These guys were scoping the scene. There was like 10 more of them outside waiting, homie. They already knew there was Norteños in there because that was kind of like a Norteño hangout. There was always a lot of Northerners there from Modesto. We seen cats from the South and West Side boys, and there was just a lot of cats there. But we weren't tripping. Like I said, we were with a few cats from Four Corners, so it was good. Modesto and Merced always got along, man. There was never no real beef like that. So anyways, we're kicking back, and fucking these dudes are in there. So one of the homeboys approaches them like, "Hey, what's up, man? Where you Vatos from?" They were like Sureños, right? And whatever, right? So the homie's like, oh, "Okay." Now you say to yourself, "Why didn't he fight him right there?" Because he didn't want to get beat up. That's why. So he came back. Hey, these fools are Southsiders. We already knew it. So we're like, we'll catch them, homes, when they go outside. You know, we're gonna catch them. Don't trip. Shit. So these guys go to step out. They're there for like maybe a half hour. They're drinking whatever. They go out. The plan was to go in, get us, and bring us out, right? Well, they did that because we got off. Well, as soon as we're walking out of this little club, right? The homie's like, "Hey, what's up? This Norte, whoop de whoop." And Sureno was like, "All right, fucking let's do it right here." So there's like, it's like downtown Modesto, so it's like there's a whole bunch of different little spots, little bars and clubs and whatever, Palladiums over there and all that shit, right? So as we hit a corner to like the little part where we parked, gang of Southsiders, homie. "This is more, that's the way I see, right?" Show, man, it went down, homie. There was homeboys flying everywhere, right? They caught us slipping. We thought we caught them slipping, but they caught us slipping. You know, at the end of the day, it was a war zone. Let me throw the lid on there one time, right? Pick up my, I can't stand to see my little dish towel all bleached and shit, fucked up. But you know, shit, I'm doing what I does. Daughter got fucking SpongeBob on. So, anyways, we fight, boom, we get off. No one gets shot, no one gets stabbed. It's just a fucking little melee, man. We get on, right? We ain't going out like that, though. We ain't going out like that, right? We weren't going to come back and hunt these cats because we figured it was Modesto's problem. Let them do it. The homies from Four Corners was like, "Don't even trip. We know who these cats are. We're going to get at them in a proper fashion." All right, cool. Bam. The next time, right? Say about 2 weeks later, man. We done forgot about that incident. It was what it was, man. We're still going to go to Fat Cats. I mean, that's how it was in the valley, man. You're going to catch each other. You know, if seeking, you shall receive. Looking, they're going to be out there, right? So we smashed a Stockton, right? Now, I just did a video about Stockton, about the Cambodian Bloods, man. I told you, man, Stockton wiggles. Don't go to Stockton, right? There was a gang out there called Playboys. Now, the Playboys gang, I did time with cats from Playboys, man. Shout out to Casper from Playboys. He was a black vato. That vato broke my whole shit open. In YA, I told that story. He hit me with a 2x4. I was out, right? I took that elbow that day. That vato dropped the elbow like the Macho Man on me. So, anyways, I didn't know that fucking Playboys was up north, right? I didn't know that they were in Stockton, so we go to Stockton, and I have primos from Stockton. And in fact, I met my primo in CYA. I didn't even know my grandfather's from Stockton. He owned a barbershop, was connected to like an ice cream shop back in the days. His name was Rudy, right? He's passed away now, rest in peace to my grandfather, my dad's father. But he had another family. You know, when him and my grandmother split up, he had another family. So a trip out when I'm in YA, I told the story. My last name is unique, right? So when they said my last name to go to the office, you know, up to the podium, I thought I had mail or something. Some other guy gets up. I was in Carl Holton, right? And I was like, "Hey, that's me." He's like, "No, that's me." So having a unique last name like I do, not many people have it, especially in the Central Valley. Come to find out, his grandfather's my grandfather, right? We're primos. We kept in contact. When I got out, I would wiggle to Stockton every once in a while, go fuck with him and the familia. I met all my little primos or whatever. They were all Norteños, you know. They were from a hood out there called East Side Stockton, right? So anyways, we're out there wiggling with them, and we run into these cats, Playboys, right? The wind blew that day. I ain't gonna lie, man. I can't really tell you guys the in-depth details of the story because let's just say, you know, someone got their ears clipped. But it definitely was another time that the guerra was on. The war was on in Stockton, in Modesto, Merced. You know, the Central Valley. You know, so you hear a lot of these upstaters, Sureños, that are from like San Jose or the Mission District. You know, I know that they had 19th Street out there. And then you hear about the ones from SAC. You know, they had 47th, I believe, back in the days, Howe Park. And then you hear about like La Posada in like where was that from? They were from Salinas and Watsonville area, and you hear about all these Southsiders, upstaters from different areas, and that's the truth. That's the facts, man. They established, and there was definitely war. In Merced, we didn't have too many Southsiders. We had two gangs that started. One was called Southside Locals. The other one was called Pocos, PPLs, Pocos Pero Locals. But we hardly ever seen them cats, you know. But yeah, so, you know, when I see a lot of these content creators from up north or even down south, and they're talking about, you know, I see a lot of the comments. They'll tell the stories, and then I'll see a lot of the comments of people saying, hey, man, you know, fucking Sureno was established in my area. Yeah, they were, homes. They were everywhere, you know, and we were funking. The funk was on. I lost a lot of homeboys due to north and south issues, and you know, and back then there was a hatred instilled in me. I hated it. I've come to realize that we're all the same, man, and raza is dangerous. You know, I just dropped a video, or a short, where it shows that, remember the Shot Caller movie? Where it shows where the fucking white dude comes running out money, and he rushes the northerner, right? And he got him in the headlock, and I said, man, that shit ain't happening. And I didn't mean that the Norteno's not getting beat up, because anyone could take a L. What I meant truly was that, you know, the cops, they would have never got to each other. The cops would have jumped in front, cut them off, slammed them, maced them. But of course, people try to make it into oh, you're just saying that because he's a Norteno. I don't give a fuck if he was a fucking green Martian from the planet Pluto, humps. You know, I'm just telling you the way it is, real prison shit. Anyways, man, I just wanted to sit here, vlog with you a little bit, tell you a little bit why I make my sopa. I'm about to get down and grub. So with that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose, get everything that you want coming, and remember, at the end of the day, shit, I just gotta does what I does, cuz, you know, and I hope that you have a fantastic weekend, man. Gracias, collective clip shit. Bang, bang. Gonna gang.